In today's episode, we've got a $1.7 million client, age 59 and 58, and they are considering a Roth conversion. Now, the benefits of a Roth conversion theoretically are that you will pay the lower tax rates of today to avoid the higher tax rates of tomorrow, meaning you will make distributions from your 401ks and IRAs today at a lower tax rate, and you'll move that post-tax contribution into a Roth IRA. And the idea is that as taxes increase over time, once you begin making distributions from those Roth IRAs at that higher tax rate, it won't affect you because you've already paid tax on that money. That money is now tax-free. So I'm going to jump into a planning session to see if a Roth conversion, in fact, makes sense for this client. So here we are on the dashboard for the client, but before we continue, please understand that these videos were created for education purposes only, and they are not meant to be taken as literal financial or tax advice. So with that said, let's keep moving. So before recommending a Roth conversion to a client, we want to run our diagnostics check, and we're looking for two things. The first is their asset mix. A Roth conversion doesn't make a whole lot of sense if they have a 50-50, say, blend between their IRAs or 401ks and their Roth IRAs. Because we don't know what the future of taxes will be. Could go up, could stay the same, could go down. In the event that they stay the same or go down, the client was better off in the 401k. So that's why we want more of a 50-50 blend. What we would like to see here is that the client has a bigger 401k position than they do, say, a Roth IRA position. The next thing is a conversion window, and usually that's going to be available right after retirement. That's when your effective tax rate drops to an all-time low or drops lower, and that allows us the opportunity to begin that conversion at a lower tax rate. If you take that conversion during your working years, you're taking a big risk at pushing up, first of all, your effective tax rate to a point you may never reach once you retire. And that's the whole benefit of a Roth conversion. You want the rate at which you converted to be lower than the rate in the future. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into a couple reports. So starting with their asset mix, we're going to head over to reports, and then we're going to jump into assets. And we should see a nice little pie chart here. We'll need to set this to as of today. And there's the pie chart we're looking for. And we want to scroll down and scope into retirement assets. And we see a lot of green. That's usually a good sign. We just want to make sure, yep, there it is. 401k, 85% position in the 401k and only a 14% position in the Roth IRA. So they passed the first check. And now we need to move into a conversion window to see if it's available. So in order to do that, we want to jump into their income tax report, and we're going to review their effective tax rate and see what we have here. But the client retires right around that dip. So we see them drop to about half, 10.62. And if we look to the left, in fact, yes, that is when they retire. So just before the year of retirement, they're earning about $200K a year, and they drop down to about 25% of that at, call it $45,000 a year. And scrolling to the right, we see this beautiful little window of opportunity between their age 62, all the way down to about 71. So they've got a nice 10-year conversion window here. And you can see that that tax rate eventually jumps back up. That's when they take RMDs. So this is one of the reasons why a Roth could make a lot of sense, because you'll be forced to take required minimum distributions from your pre-tax money, the 401ks, the IRAs, the 457 plans, the 403bs. And so we can see that their tax rate, effective tax rate, jumps to about 15%, and upwards of 15.5%. We don't really get to 16 throughout retirement. But that is the conversion window we're looking for. So far, so good. The client passed both checks. The first is the asset mix. We see an 85% holding in a 401k. We want to get some of that monies over to the Roth IRA. So if tax rates in the future are higher, well, they can pull more down from the Roth IRA and less from their IRAs and 401ks. The second one is the window of opportunity for conversion. We see it there, that 10-year span between the age 62 and call it 71 or so. It's a great time. Their effective tax rate drops from 20% down to about 10%. So that's a great time to start that conversion. So let's jump back. I'm going to duplicate the plan and create that Roth conversion scenario to see if in fact they will have a tax savings throughout their retirement. So we're back on the software under the Plans tab, and in here we can make duplicates of the base base plan, or base facts is what we call it, with slight changes. And here I've already done that. I've created a Roth conversion scenario, a duplicate. I'm going to open it up to show you guys the changes. So we brought in this client's Roth because we're going to make transfers from the 401k to it. And that's what this line item is for. If I zoom in, you can see the details. The annual amount is $50K. It's an arbitrary number. I will double it here shortly. We just want to make sure there's a tax savings first. The source is the 401k. Destination is the Roth IRA. And we're going to do that from 2025 to 2034, a 10-year period there, in line with the 10-year window of opportunity conversion window we saw earlier. So jumping over to reports, I'm going to get into the asset report so we can take a look at that pie chart, see if there have been any changes. So we'll update this to Roth conversion, and we want to see as of 2035, the year after the conversion is complete, and we want to see less green and more orange. And in fact, we do. We've got a 58% down from 85 to the 401k, and now we're up to 41% in the Roth. Okay, so that's a good sign. All right, so now we want to move to the income tax report to see how things have changed there. And the first thing I'm going to do is pull up a chart. The chart makes it easy to visualize. So we pull base facts there, Roth conversion here. And you guys, we should see instantly across all years that there's a benefit. So this is a good sign. It's much higher here in the base facts, meaning more taxes paid, than over here on the right in this new scenario, this Roth conversion plan that we built. Okay, so what I'm going to do to measure the tax savings is I'm going to total the tax for all of the years. And I'm going to do that in an Excel sheet because the system does not total the tax for all years. I wish it did. It'd save a lot of time. The way I do that is, so we're looking at base facts again, before the Roth conversion, without the Roth conversion. So looking at this column on the right, total tax, that's the amount of tax they'll pay per year throughout all years of retirement. Now the system doesn't give us a grand total here at the bottom, so what I'm going to do is drag it into a spreadsheet that I have open. Top one likes to get lost over here on the left, so we'll drag that all the way to the right, and we will take a grand total here at the bottom. So all the way to the top, and our total tax, and I'll zoom in for you guys right now. Total tax here is $1.562 million throughout all years of retirement. So what we want to do is compare the Roth conversion at $50K a year to that amount. So if I go to Roth conversion and hit update, then we'll get the printout for all those years of tax paid. I'll move those into the Excel sheet. I'm going to zoom out just to give myself some space here. And one line above, we'll bring that 40K over. And then we'll run a sum at the bottom and compare the two. Run a sum. We can see some tax savings already at 1.3. Let's find out how the difference between those two by copying that over and underneath. So we'll call this no conversion. Sorry if you guys are hearing the clicking on my keyboard, but there's no conversion on the top, and then this is a 50K conversion over 10 years. You guys know it's 10 years. And let's look at the difference between those two. We're on sum G45 minus G46, a $209,000 savings over the lifetime of their retirement. Let me go ahead and zoom in for you guys. So if they convert $50,000 a year, the year starting the year after retirement, over a 10-year period, their total lifetime tax savings would be $200,000. Now let's go back and we're going to instead change that $50,000 to $100,000 to see if we contribute or transfer, or I should say convert more. Is there a greater benefit of doing so? So $100,000 per year over the same 10 years. Running back to reports, income tax report, change it to our Roth conversion, hit update, and I'm going to do the same thing because it doesn't give us a total here. I'm going to go ahead and drag that into our Google Sheet, bringing this out to 100%. And got to grab this column and over. And let's take a grand total. Should be able to notice, yeah, 1.2. So we can see some tax savings without even having to drag it. Let's find out the true difference. So we'll copy that over. I'll zoom in for you guys. And let's make sure this is correct. So we have, this is too high. So this should just be copied here. We'll just type it 1562772. And our number from earlier should have been 1.2. So let's just place that here. There it is. A $360,000 difference. So the client would have a tax savings equal to $360,000 if they instead convert, let me change this here to, if they instead convert $100K per year over a 10-year period starting the year after retirement. All right, so we do see some benefit there, assuming tax rates continue to increase. The client, if converting $50,000 per year starting the year after retirement over a 10-year period, would have about a $200,000 savings, tax savings over the life of their retirement. Now, if they convert more, up to $100,000 per year over those 10 years, starting the year after retirement, we're talking about a potential retirement tax savings of about $360,000. Now, we could go back to the plan and go up to $150,000 or even $200,000. At some point, we will have converted everything out of the 401k to the Roth. And the tax benefit, I can tell you without doing it, would be even greater than what we're seeing now. The issue there is that typically you want to have a balance. You want to have about a 50-50 balance between your pre-tax dollars and your post-tax dollars. And the reason is because we don't know for sure that tax rates in the future are going to be higher. They could be the same, they could be lower. And that means that all the money you gave up in the conversion, well, you won't break even on that necessarily. Now, the only benefit would be if you did and they didn't rise, that when your children inherit or your heirs inherit those Roth IRAs, well, those are typically the best type of accounts to inherit because they won't have to pay tax on that money. Whereas with the IRAs and 401ks, they would. And if taxes don't increase, it's likely that they will be inheriting that money during some of their higher income earning years. And they're going to be forced to make withdrawals either in a lump sum when they receive it or over 10 years. So for sure, that effective tax rate, their effective tax rate, your heirs, would likely be much higher than when you converted. So ultimately, it would make sense. It's just a matter of when. Hopefully you guys took away a few bits and pieces from that. If you guys are looking to have a diagnostic on your plan run or one built for you to see if a conversion makes sense, please reach out to us. If you've already made up your mind that you want to convert to a Roth, if you want a Roth conversion, we can help you with the transaction. And you guys can find our contact information in the description below this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.